She believed that if she could teach herself to get up at 5 a.m. or abandon her reality show addiction, she would unlock the superhero power of mass production. But the transformation never seemed to happen. Martha was so busy shaming herself that she failed to see the bigger picture. She needed to take the astronaut's view, zoom high above herself, and observe that her procrastination was not a solo endeavor. There were other people editing, reading, and responding to her work. Because she worked at home, it was easy to forget that there were other humans in the game. I encouraged Martha to think about her procrastination as a relationship problem. She started by listing all the people who inhabited her brain when she felt anxious about her work. She worried what her editors thought about giving her extensions, since she couldn't gauge their reactions through email. She wanted to impress a new girl she was seeing. She didn't want to disappoint her sweet grandmother, whose house was wallpapered with years of her bylines. If she was being honest, she also wanted to look good in front of Twitter followers she'd never even met. By focusing on the reactions of others, Martha had invited an entire audience of people to watch her write a first draft. It was like sight reading a cello piece at Carnegie Hall when you don't even play the cello. No wonder her brain shut down and refused to work when she had an assignment. There are so many ways that our relationships influence our level of productivity. Here are just a few. Anxiety in relationships can lead to worrying about how people will respond to your work, slacking when someone else will do it for you, distancing yourself from those who expect you to do well, pretending that you're more capable than you are, focusing on getting approval instead of developing ideas. People who are less emotionally mature or less differentiated tend to be more other-focused in their work. Dr. Bowen proposed that less differentiated people were more reactive to praise or criticism. They used up all their energy trying to look good, and there wasn't much left for getting stuff done. Less differentiated people also tend to procrastinate because they often imagine they are disappointing others. If you imagine that a friend is upset with you, you might delay calling them back. If you imagine that your boss will be impatient, you might lie about how quickly you can finish a project. If you imagine that grandma will be disappointed, you might forget all the times you've pulled off the same task with great success. Martha's imagination had taken over and was doing all of these things. How do you focus less on disappointing others? You might try to avoid them, but this rarely works. If you don't believe me, consider how much time you've spent trying to impress strangers on social media, to prove a dead relative wrong, or to beat that high school nemesis who always outdid you. Just because you're not talking to someone doesn't mean that you're not in a relationship with them. And distancing yourself from people will only give your imagination more space to paint a negative picture. So rather than distancing herself, Martha needed to move closer to the people who were inhabiting her brain: her editors, her new girlfriend, and Grandma. She realized that if these relationships lived or died by her ability to be impressive, she was signing up for a lifetime of anxious procrastinating. So Martha began inching closer. She initiated more conversations with her editors about big ideas and their own lives. She was honest with her girlfriend about her procrastination problems and her career fears. She asked her grandmother about her own decision to give up a career to start a family. By moving closer, Martha was beginning to see that she was surrounded by humans, not just fans or critics. It felt really good. Schedule time for curiosity. Though it might seem scary at first, moving closer to important people can do a lot to lower your anxiety in the long run. The less focused you are on their reactions, the more energy you'll have to pursue your goals. So where should your focus be, if not on other people? Martha had been so determined to be impressive that she'd forgotten why she'd become a journalist in the first place. Without that guiding passion, she became more concerned with what other people thought, or what she imagined they thought. Because she was constantly behind on her assignments,